My best friend made a move on my husband while I was away with my family. He pushed her away, but now I don't know what to do next. Original post. I think this is the right sub, but if not, I'm sorry. I can't think straight right now. We, 37F39M, have been together for 15 years, married for 12, and we have 4 kids. We've always had a wonderful loving relationship and have both been amazing partners to each other. My mom is not doing well health-wise, and I flew out to her with our youngest on Friday morning, and we will be flying back tomorrow night. A few hours ago my best friend called me crying and said that she got into a major fight with her husband after she found he cheated and asked if she could come over. She had forgotten that I wasn't in town, and I talked to her for a little while and tried to calm her down. I also called my husband explaining the situation and asked if it was okay for my best friend to spend the night in our guest room, and he was fine with it. I took our iPad with me to keep our youngest entertained while at my parents' place. It is logged into my husband's Apple ID email, so his messages and calls show up on it. When I went to put it on charge, I saw tens of messages from my best friend to my husband. I found it strange since they were supposed to be under the same roof, and I knew it was wrong to snoop, but I ended up reading the messages anyway. Long story short, something happened between them. My husband kicked her out, and my best friend wants to keep whatever it is a secret, but my husband says that I deserve to know. I don't know what to do or think now, and I have no one I can talk to about this. What am I supposed to do now? Relevant comments. Comment 1, at least he wants to tell you about it. You should call him and ask him what it is that you deserve to know. It might just be that she made a move on him and he got mad and kicked her out, but contact him now. Comment 2, same. She's just been cheated on, and she likely wanted revenge, but in her distress, she picked the nearest man to her, just made more of a mess of her life. Completely valid reason to cut her out. Also, if OP values the friendship, she has room to be understanding without looking foolish since her husband is loyal. She 100% owes him a huge high five. I would personally understand and forgive, but keep her at arm's length for years, if not forever. Just because I understand doesn't mean I'm going to give you access to my personal life again. About the husband, yes, loyalty is expected and mandatory. No, that doesn't mean that most people wouldn't take low-hanging fruit if offered. He isn't like most. That itself deserves acknowledgement since you saw it in practice before your eyes. Having verifiable proof your partner won't play you even if they reasonably could get away with it is worthy of celebration. Not necessarily because he deserves a treat, but because you now know you are truly safe with your back turned. If he kissed her or SM'd Heath, then he can go get fucked though. Update. You guys were right. I wanted to have the conversation face to face and waited till I got back a few hours ago. We talked after we had dinner and all the kids went to bed. After my now former friend showered and freshened up, my husband gave her leftovers from dinner and they talked about her husband and the situation with her husband, and out of nowhere she tried to sit in his lap and tried kissing him, and my husband pushed her off and she tried again and told her that she had to leave. My husband admitted that he was tempted to call me late last night but didn't want to add more to my plate while I was with my mom and wanted to physically be there when he told me. I have talked to her since and she is back at her place and her husband is not there. She has been very apologetic and is saying that she wasn't in the right headspace and made a mistake trying something with my husband and is begging me to not break apart our friendship. To be honest, I feel bad for her, but she knows how much I love my husband and my family and she was willing to ruin everything, and I can't forgive that or rationalize it. My fiancée changed right after I proposed, and now her friends call me toxic. Am I the asshole for wanting to end the engagement? I am 32, just recently proposed to my girlfriend of 2 years Sharon, F30. Like a month and a half ago, and it feels like the second the ring got on her finger, her attitude and behavior took a total 180. The entire time we were dating, we seemed exceptionally compatible, and at least it seemed we shared common beliefs and morals. 7 weeks ago, I proposed and she said yes, and I felt like it was the happiest moment for the two of us. But not even a week later, it's like her attitude totally flipped. I thought I knew all her friends, but one day I came home and there were 6 women I've never seen before, and Sharon introduced me to them. I was curious as to why I was just now meeting them, when I already met Sharon's 2 best friends, Michelle and Octavia, both not present, over a year and a half ago. Sharon said she wanted to make sure we were a sure thing before I met her inner circle. I found this strange, not to mention it was a weeknight and they were quickly draining my wine rack of wine. Sharon still had her own place, but she stayed with me so often she practically lives there. Still, I found it incredibly rude when they left, with 4 empty bottles of rosé in their wake. I tried to talk to Sharon about having uninvited guests on weeknights and she dismissed my grievance very flippantly. More than that, she brushed me off. The following weeks she went out with the girls several times, and when she brought the girls to my place, twice without notice, once with notice to appease me, her words, they all treated me like a butler, shaking their empty wine glasses at me for refills. After the fourth time, I made it clear that I will get a locked wine rack. Sharon just called me no fun after that. It gets worse. Sharon decided me and the girls got off on the wrong foot, and said we should have dinner together at a nice restaurant. Well, I went and it was not great. The six kept prodding me about my life, my house, my career, but deflected every question I asked. It got especially bad at night when they started talking about modern relationships and jealousy, and one of them brought up some key points about relationships that I thought Sharon and I were on the same page about, specifically what-ifs regarding polyamory and being friends with exes. To my shock, Sharon said we shouldn't be too hasty on such decisions, which was a total 180 to how she expressed herself on these things only a month prior, where she was vehemently against keeping ex-intimate partners in friend circles and was staunchly monogamous. The worst part was when the bill arrived, Sharon announced it should be together and slid me the check. I told her she can't be serious, and we got into a bit of an argument. I ended it by putting my amount down in cash and walked out, leaving them to figure out the rest of the bill. The next few days after that, Sharon kept calling me toxic and fragile, but every time I even pushed it, she would give an apology and promise she was just stressed at work. It's nuts, we haven't even planned the wedding yet. The worst part was this Monday. When at work, I got a Nest doorbell alert, checked and saw Sharon and one of her 6 new friends arriving at my place, going in and exiting with my golf clubs. This set was a gift from my father, and it cost a pretty penny too, so Sharon lending it out without my permission got me pissed. I immediately called Sharon and told her and her friend to return the clubs. Sharon tried to gaslight me with, "But you promised to lend the clubs to her boyfriend, remember?" I told her the clubs cost would move it into a serious crime, and her friend had an hour to return them or the cops would be called. Sharon kept insisted she got my permission and I told her to cut the crap. Well, not 45 minutes later I got another notification of Sharon and her friend coming back with the clubs and going inside, leaving them, Sharon's friend flipping off the Nest doorbell on the way out. I got home and saw Sharon's friend literally just threw the clubs and back on the living room floor. Sharon tried to talk to me about my toxicity again, and I told her again to cut the crap. I said if I knew this was how she was, I would have never proposed. That seemed to freak her out and she again insisted that she was stressed from work, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her to return the ring and her key and we would talk about our relationship this weekend. She cried and begged me not to cancel the engagement and insisted that it was just stress. I told her again we will talk about it this weekend. She finally relented. I had my house rekeyed anyway after she left, just to be safe. Sharon has been texting me constant messages of love and apologies for getting swept up, and insisted she was only wanting to show me off to her close friends. I don't know, I'm just not buying it. The same close friends have been sending me texts daily, calling me toxic and fragile again. Saying they knew I wasn't man enough for Sharon or secure enough to share her with friends. A few of my friends that knew Sharon the entire 2 years we were dating were surprised and can't believe she turned hide this quick, and that there must be something missing, or that I'm leaving something out. They say I must have said something to trigger her friends to act like this, and I had to have been the somewhere along the process. I don't know, it's a lot to take from all directions right now. Relevant comments. Comment 1. 2 years and she didn't introduce you to these friends. She knows how terrible they are and how terrible she is with them. She put on quite a show to get the ring and now that she thought she had you locked down, she can show her true colors. Unless you are leaving out something, you're definitely NTA. You are not toxic or fragile. You have standards. What she did at the restaurant and with the clubs is toxic. It seems like she wants to show them she has you wrapped around her finger and that you will allow her, and them, to do whatever they want. I wouldn't give her another chance to use you for what you can do or give to her. No one that loves you would treat you like this, friends or no friends present. Comment 2. Agreed. No one hides away an important part of their lives for 2 whole years. I'm wondering if she's had people dump her before because of these friends. Either way, OP's lucky they've seen it all now and can move on from this crazy lady. Though I'd be very tempted to get in touch with her best friends he knew about and see what info they have about the situation. Just because I really am a nosy fucker. Comment 3. OP, if you're stupid enough to even ponder resuming this relationship, just tell her that, given actions to date, you'll be getting a prenup, with a full financial separation, to even consider marrying her. I promise the reaction will be enlightening. Pessa, quit while you're behind, and thank whatever deity you may or may not believe in. She let the mask slip before the wedding. Comment 4. NTA, you said you had met 2 of her friends, Michelle and Octavia, previously. Have they had anything to say about this flipped behavior or the 6 strangers that materialized? Reply, I messaged Michelle on Facebook last night. I asked her about the 6 and she told me that her, Octavia and Sharon are cousins and grew up together. Michelle said that she didn't really care for the 6, but didn't say much else. Oh fuck no dude, you need to end this relationship. She has been putting on a false front the whole time. She knows how toxic they are. She figured now that you had proposed, you couldn't leave. This is who she really is. The person you dated for 2 years? That's a false front to get the proposal. It's like abusers who never hit their spouse until after they are married. They know they need to hide it, because they know it will drive the partner away. They wait till the commitment is deep enough. She showed her hand too fast and too early. Kick her ass to the curb immediately. Call her out on every gaslight. Every time she cries and says she's stressed or whatever, ask her why she lies 100% of the time in front of her friends then. If she's telling the truth, they can come over, and in front of her friends, she will for a whole evening, disagree with them on polygamy, open relationships, your role, they need to be open, etc. etc. Tell her if she's just stressed, she must be willing now to call them and openly admit all of what she was saying with them was untrue. Or, this is who she is. She gave you pleasant fiction when you were alone and it was easy to hide. Now you see who she chooses to be. Who she wants to be. Dump her. Move on. Date Michelle. An update: 1 year later, I'm rethinking having kids with my wife after what I discovered about her father. Am I the asshole? Original post: my wife Jessica, 32F, and I, 30M, have been married for 2 years and are trying for a baby. Jessica has an older sister, Mary, that she isn't close to. She told me that they had a huge falling out over some family drama and just don't speak anymore. I asked a few times about the entire situation, but she would say she doesn't like talking about it and doesn't think it's important. It was Jessica's brother's birthday yesterday and we were all over at his house to celebrate. Mary made an appearance and there was a lot of drama. Long story short, she called Jessica and her brothers out for still associating with their dad when they know that he is a child molester. No one was paying her any mind and I was really confused on what the hell was going on. When Mary left and Jessica and I went home, I asked Jessica what the hell happened. She said that when they were kids, Mary used to claim that their dad used to molest her. I asked if it's true and Jessica was stuttering a lot. She said she knows her dad used to do bad things but that Mary cut them all off when she turned 18 and moved out. I asked if she is admitting that she knows her dad was a child molester and did things to his own daughter. She said he doesn't do it anymore and he was just in a really bad place in his life and he apologized to Mary, so there's nothing else anyone can do for Mary. I was honestly appalled. I also feel so terrible for Mary. Jessica made it seem like Mary did something wrong and deserved to be basically exiled from the family. I could have never imagined that this is what happened. I asked if she expects me to now be willing to have that man around our future children and she started shouting at me, saying I'm judging him off something that happened 2 decades ago and whether I like it or not, he is going to be our child's grandpa and he will be in their lives. I said if she insists on it, I think we need to hold off on having kids and have serious conversations about it. She's extremely angry at me but I don't know how I could better react, to be honest. This feels like a huge deal that she is minimizing. Ta, relevant comments. Commenter, NTA and run. Please talk to someone from RAIN. They are an organization for victims of sexual assault. This is not something minor like occasionally being crabby with your kids on the mornings you have a migraine. This is a crime. I know a victim of child sexual abuse and many years later and thousands of dollars in therapy, this woman is still hurting. You need to get out now. OOP. I wish I could accurately describe how Mary looked and sounded when she was going off on her siblings that day. It actually sent shivers down my spine. She looked so angry but so defeated at the same time. All while they were all looking at her like she was crazy. I still can't wrap my head around it. I want to reach out to her and check if she's alright, but I don't know how appropriate that will be. Commenter, NTA, someone who has glossed over child molestation. Would she want to leave a future child of yours with grandpa for the night? That's chilling. And once you have kids, even if you divorced her for this later, you couldn't get full custody over this, if grandpa never went to prison for it and isn't a convicted sex offender. It's awful all the way around. I can't believe you've been married 2 years before you even hear this story. OP, that's exactly what I was thinking. He never went to prison. Never been reported to the police at all, and there's no proof of what he did, so I would have no case and no power to keep him away from our children. I don't want to feel helpless in what happens to my children. I don't want to fail them like that. I don't think I should even have them with her at any point now that this has all come to light. Commenter, and I bet she did everything she could to hide this from him their whole relationship. OOP, I think this is a huge part of why I'm so angry at her. She had so many opportunities to tell me. There are instances where she had to have actively gone out of her way to keep this entire thing from me. And if Mary hadn't shown up to their brother's birthday party, I would have still been in the dark. Top comment, NTA pedophiles rarely retire. There is no consensus bot on AITA, but top comments were NTA. This is still one of the most popular posts of all time on the AITA sub-update post. It's been nearly a year since my initial post, so I thought I would give an update. A few days after my original post, I sat Jessica down and told her how I was feeling. I told her I'm not okay with what she and her family had done to Mary. They knew what their dad had done to her but still chose to take his side and make Mary look crazy. I told her I'm also not okay with brushing her father's crimes under the rug. She was quiet and didn't say anything. She didn't try to defend herself or her family. She was just staring at me in a very chilling way. Almost like she was indifferent to whatever I had to say and just wanted it to be over. I told her I needed time to myself and I would leave and think about what I wanted to do. Suddenly she was paying attention. She seemed shocked and panicked. She started begging me not to leave, saying I'll get over it in a few days when we get back to how we usually are and things settle down. She said all families have skeletons in their closet and that this can't define our marriage. I said no and I left the house for a few days. I ignored all her calls and those of her family. I reached out to Mary on Facebook. I wrote her a lengthy message about how I had no idea all she had been through and that I'm so sorry for how her family treated her. I told her to reach out to me if she ever needs anything. She got back to me and asked if we could meet for coffee. We met up the day after. At first it was small talk, then she asked if I would be okay if she told me her version of events. I said of course I would, and she spoke to me about it. Everything her dad did and how her family treated her after she told them. I felt physically sick. She even told me stories about how Jessica told her friends that Mary has a mental condition that causes hallucinations, and that just in case Mary starts rumors about their family, that's why. A lot of people still believe Mary has a mental condition because of Jessica. I knew after that talk that I had to end things with Jessica. I went over to our house and told her I want a divorce. I told her I cannot stand the thought of being her husband and a part of their disgusting family. All she did was cry and ask all this for her. I knew then that she hadn't changed. She was still the same person that did all of those things to Mary, and she was still doing them. We're still not officially divorced, but we haven't been together since, and we are going through the process. It's just taking longer than I thought to get it finalized. Mary and I became friends. I invited her to a birthday dinner my family were hosting for me, and she hit it off with my cousin. He's crazy about her, and she seems really happy with him too. He keeps asking me if it would be too early to propose, and I have to tell him to not scare her away, lol. But they have a really wholesome relationship and I'm really happy for them. As for me, I'm just surviving. Divorces are tough, but I know I made the right choice. Thank you to everyone that responded and gave me advice, I really appreciate it. Relevant comments. Comment 1, WTF, did I read now? Do all families have skeletons? This is not a skeleton, this is a whole cemetery. Reply, family skeletons are usually benign, trivial, even banal, at least in my family they are. This is a full-on family conspiracy to make Mary look like she's lost her mind while shielding a pedophile. Fuck yeah. OOP made the right call to walk away from this mess. Mine aren't benign, but they're either just weird or alcoholism, drug abuse, untreated mental illness, etc. Like, the normal amount of fucked up. Or, maybe a little more but like, not defending a pedophile. More just, sympathy for addicts. Comment 2, all she did was cry and ask, all this for her. The fact she has an issue with Mary but not her father being a pedophile just shows that this lady is a piece of trash. She can seriously fuck off. Comment 3, either that, or be all shocked about it. Like, who could have predicted such an unexpected outcome? How could she have possibly known this would happen? Comment 4, I'm disgusted to be in the same asylum as her. Sign my petition to have Jessica reclassified as a segmented worm. My fiancé's quirky food choices are ruining our meals. Now she's disappeared after a fight. Am I the asshole for reaching my limit? Original post. Maybe I'm making too much out of this. Maybe it is a big problem and why I'm posting here. This has been going on since we've dated in college. I'll use last night as an example. I'm always a safe order guy, meaning I get chicken tenders, steak, a burger, orange chicken, etc. It's not that I dislike other food, it's that if I'm doing something crazy I want to buy it, prepare it, cook and serve it, be in control of the whole process. She always orders the special, the catch of the day, the taster's menu, etc. And she invariably says, I don't really like this, I should have just ordered what you got, let's switch. And she grabs my plate. Sometimes I'm able to eat her food, Sometimes it really is bad and then I go hungry. I've brought this up with her and she has upfront told me she thinks it makes her quirky and fun, and I've known this since dating her. Last night we went to a sports bar after our league beach volleyball game and we're starving. I just wanted food so I ordered chicken tenders and fries. This dingy sports bar was having a snow crab special, which of course she wanted. I begged her to please just order something they couldn't mess up and she accused me of being so boring. Food came, her crab legs looked, smelled and tasted like they were rotting wax and of course she didn't want it and wanted my tenders. I finally stood up for myself and said no, she could send them back and order her own food. Cue massive fight. She accused me of wasting food, of not cooperating with her and not reading the room, whatever they meant. I told her that no, I was not doing it this time. She started crying and demanded to go home. I said no, I was so hungry I was eating my food. I think she got an Uber to a friend's house and I have not seen her since. I'm fed up. Is this breakup worthy and what should I do about this? Edit. We are engaged and live together. We also share credit cards and bank accounts. Top comments. Comment 1. She sounds insanely entitled and the mentality and temper of a 4-year-old. Why would anyone want to date someone like that? Comment 2. Because she's quirky and fun as seriously though, she needs to act like an adult. Comment 3. I'm very Joey doesn't share food and if someone pulled this shit with me and expected me to let it slide because they thought it made them quirky and fun, I'd be gone. She sounds annoying AF, extremely entitled and also very slightly psychotic for expecting OP to go hungry. All because she's playing the part of a quirky, fun and adventurous foodie. I expect this has more to do with her testing his limits than just food as evidenced by her blowing up when he suggested, quite logically, she order something else. It's like she wants him to suffer to prove how endearing he finds her. OOP. To be fair to her, I don't think she expects me to go hungry. In fact, I'll bet she's never noticed if I finish her meal or not. Comment 4. That's telling if she doesn't even notice. Makes you wonder what else she isn't noticing about you in the relationship. OOP. I don't want to sound like a crybaby because I have made a choice with her, but yes, I do more of the labor in the relationship. Comment 5. It's only quirky and fun if she eats what she fucking orders. I realize you already know this, but why in the hell should you have to give up your food because of her bad gamble? At the core of it, it sure seems like a, let's see how much of my bullshit he will indulge test. I would say no more would be the correct answer. You haven't seen her since. I suspect she'll be back in touch, and you can give her an opportunity to apologize, but that shit is unacceptable. She owes you an apology, and I sort of doubt you're going to get one. OOP. Your second paragraph was what I've felt for a long time put into words. Thank you. Comment 6. If she's the one labeling it quirky and fun, it isn't. I want to try something, but she needs to order her own food. Who pays the tab? OOP. I mean technically we both do since we have shared credit cards and bank accounts. Update. Reddit. I don't remember the exact timeline of how things went down on Sunday as far me posting, but original was locked when she texted me at 6 p.m. telling me that I owed her a huge apology for the way I behaved at the sports bar and the volleyball game. I still don't know what that is about. I asked her where she was. She said she would tell me when I apologized. I said I was not going to apologize. She said she needed some time to think whether this relationship was right for her. I told her that I was just exhausted by so much of what she does that I couldn't do it anymore. She hung up and I haven't heard from her since. She hasn't even been by to pick up a change of clothes, so I don't know where she is. I canceled all my credit cards we shared and opened a new bank account and took half out of our share, but she hasn't taken any money out or used her debit card, so I guess I'm a little concerned since for all effect purposes she's disappeared. I'm not too worried now, but if I haven't heard anything by Friday I'll call her parents. I kind of think she's doing this disappearing act for attention. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Wait. So to sum this up, she ignored your reasonable request to order food she knows she'll like, publicly threw a fit when you wouldn't give up your own meal despite being warned that's what would happen, yelled, stormed out, and has been MIA for days. Over a meal? That she could have easily sent back herself. Holy drama, bruh. Like, wow. Bullet dodged, huh? Can you imagine a whole lifetime of ridiculous public tantrums over easily resolvable stuff? Yikes. OP. Well, the meal and whatever it is I did to make her mad at the volleyball game. Comment 2. Text her to pick up her things by X date or you will have it sent to her parents. I think she is doing this for attention and all the more reason you were right to dump her. Tell her parents you broke up and she has not been in contact. Tell them that she did not tell you where she was, but could they check on her? Don't wait on that. The sooner you do this, the sooner you can get her out of your life. OP. Okay, I can do this. Probably a good idea. OOP made a final edit. Edit. I called her parents, they haven't heard from her either, and me calling them now has them worried because they thought she was with me. I'm going to drive her important things over to their house and wash my hands of her. Whatever happens to her is of her own making at this point. My wife's creepy hobby turned into a full-blown conspiracy. She even planted evidence to ruin our neighbor's marriage. Original post. Okay, this sounds insane, but I swear my wife is totally normal otherwise. Which makes this so strange to me. For context, we're both in our later 30s and live in a pretty typical suburban neighborhood where we all know each other. My wife has always loved trashy movies and shows about infidelity, and she eats up true crime about spouses killing their cheating partners too. She just says something about it that makes her morbidly fascinated in her words. Well, a couple months back we had a scandal in our neighborhood where a married couple in the neighborhood divorced because the husband cheated. No, there wasn't a murder or anything like that, but she became obsessed with learning every detail from every neighbor. No matter the occasion, be it a baby shower or cookout, she would bring it up hoping there would be any new information. A month later is when I stumbled on the board in her home office. I was doing some cleaning and I found a massive bulletin board facing away leaned up against the wall. Curiosity got the better of me and I turned it around to find a literal fucking conspiracy board of all our neighbors' pictures with lines of yarn connecting each other like the fucking Pepe Silvia meme. I was totally confused and asked where this was, and she told me it was a hobby she had started recently where she would track rumors or likely candidates for cheating on the board. The yarn represented who was possibly cheating with whom. She had clearly gotten all the images on Facebook or some social media and printed them out and even had a few sticky notes with details. I told her this was creepy and insane, and she said maybe if I was doing it as a man, but she is just having harmless fun as a hobby and she wouldn't be crazy and try to oust anyone based on rumors, she just likes feeling like a detective. She told me to view it like a creative art piece. I was still super weirded out but let it go, or tried. I thought about it a lot. Well, every now and then I admit to checking the board when cleaning. But just a couple days ago I looked to see that now I was on the board with a yarn attached to a neighbor's wife I am casual friends with. I asked her why she would add me if she thought I was cheating, and she said that was a different yarn color for potential matches for cheating. She said if it makes me feel better, she was planning on adding herself to the board soon. Well, I got pissed and kinda lost my temper about it. I told her to get rid of the board or our marriage will be in trouble. Things have been super rocky since. Sorry for the long post. I am starting to feel bad and it hit me more than usual this morning. Should I apologize to her? And before you ask, no, I don't suspect her of cheating. Honestly, I wish she was because it would at least make more sense than this. Ada? Update. Anyway, Jesus Christ. Firstly, appreciate all of the concerns and NTAs. It gave me the courage to approach her and tell her that while I may have overreacted by threatening our marriage, I think it is a creepy thing to do. She apologized and said she would get rid of the board. I thought we were good. Literally 2 days later. 2 days later. Shasterisk, it hits the fan. Our happily married next-door neighbor finds a woman's bra under the bed that does not belong to her. It doesn't take long for the whole neighborhood to find out. Well, my wife is giddy, like jumping up and down for joy. She showed me the board, which she still didn't trash like she promised, and of course the husband was marked with yarn, meaning he was likely to cheat. She told me the board was accurate after all and maybe she should keep her hobby around. I was definitely suspicious, so I looked at the board again later. It looked different from the last time I saw it before the latest scandal. Instead of the yarn connecting to another neighbor, the cheating husband's yarn connected to a post-it with a question mark. Firstly, it was the only question mark there and I swore it wasn't there last time I saw the board. So either she changed it after the cheating to prove a point or slightly before it happened, which made me even more suspicious either way. Now I felt like I was the detective and I was going crazy. I went over to the cheating husband to ask a few questions. The wife was staying with her parents, so it was just the two of us. I asked him if he actually did it and he said no, he would never. Then I asked if my wife had been over recently. He said one day while you were at work his wife asked her to water a plant they had while they were both away and told her where the key was, so yes. I immediately raised an eyebrow. I asked if he still had the bra and he was getting nervous and told me not to get the wrong idea. I said don't worry. He still had the bra and I looked at it. It was my wife's, but one I knew she almost never wore because it was from a lingerie set I bought her one Christmas she said was uncomfortable. I told my neighbor I needed to talk to my wife and ran out, but I told him not to worry. I approached her with the bra and asked her what was going on. She played stupid but I told her to cut the BS. I asked if she had either cheated on me with him or planted it there, either way she was in trouble. She confessed to planting the bra and said it was to make me admit her hobby was valid, or something. I flipped on her. I said this was worse than her cheating on me because instead of ruining just our marriage she ruined our neighbors and ours. I demanded she call the wife and admit to everything. Even sending pictures of the board. I even showed the Reddit post which actually helped convince her my wife had planted it rather than cheated with her husband. Well, they made up, but now I have no idea what to do. I am barely speaking to my wife and it is only a matter of time before the entire neighborhood figures this out. I seriously need advice. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I honestly refuse to believe this is real. Your wife is actually nuts. This is insane behavior to have. Comment 2. I was thinking just the opposite. This one is so original it's got to be real. No AI is going to come up with this insanity. That's left to humans. Comment 3. There's I am too interested in the neighborhood gossip. And then there's I planted a bra to ruin my neighbor's marriage and kept a detective board of cheaters. I could forgive the detective board and the gossip interest even if it's not my thing. But planting evidence for an affair is just cruel. Incredibly cruel. Who even thinks like that?